But one thing that I think you can do, so many of my colleagues who are radiologists now telling me that they are no longer willing to perform mammography because the reimbursement they get is not worth it. From a pragmatic point of view, say, I want to help patients. That's why we're in medicine, to help patients. And I don't get enough to pay the expenses in my office, so that's something that certainly can be done. But in addition to that, as long as we can continue to emphasize that until we have something better, the things that are based on science, and now the mammography recommendations are based on scientific data, and we are not opposed to other people looking at those data to be sure that they are what they say they are. And if there's a difference of opinion, let's talk about it. Let's not try to hide it. But that's something we can do for the radiologists who perform mammography.
Well, thank you, because that, as I said earlier, is a big problem in New York, and it's becoming a real barrier to access, so that even if women are presented with all sides of this issue and make the determination they want a mammogram, it's becoming harder to get one.
That is correct.
Either because of access or affordability.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, Dr. LaFall, that just one point that you just mentioned there, I do have a bill in to increase that reimbursement rate for radiologists. I've been hearing from them. I just yesterday, some of the ones in Iowa, that question was asked, what does it cost? And they said $100 to $120, somewhere in that range. I think the reimbursement is now around $75.
The average. Yes.
Average about $75. And so you're right. A lot of people just turning people away.
Not doing it anymore. That's correct, Senator.
So I do have a bill in to get that done. If I can find something to attach it to this year, I'll attach it.
Very well.
I'm wondering, though, if I will get comments on the floor that that maybe this is not necessary. I don't know. Is it necessary?
What?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, with the conflict that seems to be out there now, people will say, well, why do you want to increase the reimbursement rate to radiologists to do the mammograms when we don't even know if mammograms are efficacious or not? You know, maybe we shouldn't do it.
But most groups in the United States believe that until we get something better, this is what we should continue to recommend. That's why the Komen Foundation is recommending it, ACOG, the NCI, the American Cancer Society, because we believe that it is based on the best available science that we have today. And we'd like to emphasize, we're not opposed to a relook at the data to be sure that it's what we say it is, and let patients know the truth. We're not trying to hide the truth, but when you come up with something better, and Dr. Von Eschenbach mentioned some things like the PET scan, the MRI, digital mammography. When they are proved to be better, then we can go to that. But until then, I think we should stick with what we have that we know can make the diagnosis early. And you asked many questions today about early detection, which is extremely important.
I said that it was Medicare. For reimbursement, Medicare provides it for the women over 65 every other year. For other women, it's reimbursed through private health insurance. And again, it has age guidelines to it.
As right now, there is no compelling evidence to alter any of our guidelines. Every single major institution, every single major organization is still saying, stick with your guidelines, which is from age 40 to 50 every 1 to 2 years. Some organizations are every year, such as the American Cancer Society. Others are every 1 to 2, such as the National Cancer Institute, the American College of OBGYN. After 50, every year until there is another comorbid condition which precludes the sensibility of continuing mammography. The debate here today is a statistical debate. The debate here today is media hype. The debate here today is the New York Times front page. And that is why we are here today. We are not here because there is new data. We are here because there are statisticians who in their own group, the Cochrane group, that is an excellent group. These two investigators did not have the entire group behind them, and the Lancet article that they published was not published with the entire backing of that group. Instead, that group published a separate article, and they have their website where dissension from the two authors. So that is why we are here today, because somebody has reanalyzed data and they have chosen, based on their statistical evaluation, that they wish to exclude other studies which other groups, such as the U.S. Preventive Services Health Task Force, said, no, we don't agree with their exclusions. And so looking at the raw data again, and it has been done in 1993, but looking at that raw data again will perhaps readdress these issues. But there is no compelling evidence, there is no new evidence to alter our guidelines. Was that clear?
That is very clear.
Today, we are talking about the mammography debate, and it is a debate, a statistical debate. But I think Senator Dr. Frist, a colleague, mentioned that when you're sitting with a patient, and that patient asks you, doctor, what you get, you go with a lot of information. They say, you're asking me to make a decision in a few minutes, and you spent your entire professional life studying this. I don't think you're being fair to me. I get that when I used to go into a lot of detail, yet you try to inform patients. Patients should be informed. Patients are very intelligent. They should be informed. But when we cut through the chaff to get to the wheat, get the screening mammogram.
First of all, what we see is that the biostatisticians disagree. That's clear. And they will be continuing to look at data and analyzing it and so on. Clinicians, those who have the lives of patients in their hands, do not disagree that clinicians agree and recommend in the most enthusiastic, unabashed, and unqualified way that we follow the existing guidelines that have been established by the National Cancer Institutes of Health, recently reaffirmed by the Preventive Health Task Force at HHS, and also been longstanding recommendations also of the American Cancer Society. So this hearing should not end without it being clear for those who are in charge of America's public health, its research institutes, the oldest cancer organization in the United States of America, and representing the clinicians, all agree that if you are 40 and older, you should have a mammogram every other year, and if there's indication of greater risk, either genetically or because of medications, to pursue it. So that's where there's an agreement. We've got to be really careful that while we scientifically disagree, we do not end up from discouraging health insurance plans from covering this important screening tool. It might not be the best tool right now, though it seems to be the only reliable, or at least pretty reliable tool. And in fact, we would like for the health insurance industry to take a whole new, fresh look at women's health care and what they reimburse, starting with designating the OBGYN as a primary care physician along with other internists. So we say to the insurance companies, we hope you've learned something. We say most of all to the American women, if you're over 40, get that mammogram. If you're under 40, let's find a way to get you in to talk to someone to see if you're at risk and go from there. Thank you very much, and I really want to thank everyone who presented their views, and for the biostatisticians, thank you even for your disputed presentations, because it caused us now to take a new look at where we are, and we thank you, and we encourage you to continue in your own good work, and we thank you very much. This hearing stands adjourned.